Welcome to The Writer's Dream, where books and authors rule the waves. Our authors, they talk about their books, they talk about how they write them, they talk about how they publish them, and how they market them. We are on Facebook. It's called The Writer's Dream. We also have a YouTube channel, which is called The Writer's Dream. Guess what? And you can, if you're interested in being on this show, you can leave a message on the Facebook page, and I'll be sure to get back to you. If you have a question about other interviews, please email me at lmf217@hotmail.com. Our author today is Cathi Stoller. She's a mystery and suspense writer. She's written 4 books: The Hard Way, Telling Lies, Keeping Secrets, and Nick of Time. Welcome, Cathi.
Hi, Linda. Thank you for having me.
So what got you into mystery writing?
Well, I'm a voracious reader, so I read all the time, and my favorite categories, basically in genre, are mystery, suspense, spies, spy stories, thrillers.
So that's what you decided to write?
Yes, I decided to write something like similar to what I like to read, what I enjoy.
I did the same thing. I think it's the love of that particular type of story that enables you to write a good book. So tell us about some of the books. This is your latest, right?
Yes,
The Hard
that's
Way?
The Hard Way is the third one in the series, the Laurel and Helen New York Mystery Series. Keeping Secrets, actually I wrote first, but it came out second. Telling Lies was the first one, Keeping Secrets, and then The Hard Way. And the two women are, Helen is a PI and Laurel is a magazine editor. And together they kind of work out and solve several crimes.
So what happened in The Hard Way, without giving away any secrets?
Well, The Hard Way really, as the third, it takes place in Las Vegas, and it's about an international diamond theft ring. The Pink Panthers, which people probably have heard of because they go in and do smash and grabs all over the world. So I use them as my basis for the bad guys, and it's also about the world's most expensive and rarest red diamond.
So basically it's about jewel theft.
Jewel theft, yes. And it happens to be at January, which is a new kind of resort and casino in Las Vegas. It's an ice palace in the middle of the desert.
Right. So what did you do to do your research for this book?
Well, for all of them, pretty much I've been to all the places I write about. I went to Las Vegas, of course, and I, not right before this book, but I'd been there. And I also interviewed people who are in the diamond business. And
living in Manhattan, that was probably pretty easy.
Well, except they make you put your, they take your fingerprint when you go into the building. They're very careful.
Sure.
And I did some research on the casinos, and I did a lot of research on having an ice bar and things like that to make it sound authentic.
Right. What's your favorite part about writing a book like this?
Oh, it's just fun to write, really. I love my characters.
I want you to tell us more about your characters, because I think that most authors base their characters on either people they know or themselves. So take each character and give us a little outline and where they came from.
Well, the magazine editor is Laurel Imperioli. My daughter thinks I named her after her, but I really didn't. But she's sort of a really empathetic, wonderful person who wants to help people. She works at Women Now magazine, where it's kind of a cross between a fashion magazine and a magazine that really has good articles about life and living. And she pairs up with Helen McCorkindale, who's a PI, who's can be a little bit snarky and has a kind of a little bit of an edge to her humor. And they had met before, any of the stories begin. And then Laurel calls Helen in to help her with an identity problem for Keeping Secrets, hidden identity. And in Telling Lies, they get together because of someone who they think has died after 9/11, but who may not be dead. And in The Hard Way, which the focus has changed a little onto Helen, and she is the impetus for this story and for getting Laurel involved. So those are my two main characters. There's also Laurel's dad, Mike Imperioli, who owns a cigar store on Madison Avenue, and he's kind of falling for Helen. So there's a little bit of that going on. and there's a policeman named Aaron Gerard, a detective, and he and Laurel are on again, off again, on again, off again. So that's going on within the 3 stories as well.
A little conflict
Yeah.
always makes the book good. Are there any parallels between what's in the book and your life experiences?
Actually, not, well, yes, they are. I was going to say not personally, but it is personal. In Telling Lies, as I said, well, I should start that over. I think that all of these books have something that's of interest to people because it's something that's going on in the world around us. Telling Lies deals with someone who disappeared after 9/11, which I honestly believe that maybe more than one person has done. And
So there's a 9/11 club
the
out
9/11,
there.
it's not focusing on it, but yes, the 9/11 club, but that's where it starts. And it goes to Florence and comes back to New York. It's based around that character's disappearing. And keeping secrets, it's bad identity theft and the mob and what's going on. It's a big problem still. So I use that. And in The Hard Way, I really was thinking about jewel theft, and the Pink Panthers were in the news so much when I was thinking about writing this that I used them as the foil, so to speak. And, excuse me 1 second.
Yes, I know. We all have a cold right now, right?
Yeah, and my mouth gets so dry. This really starts with a woman who won a contest at Women Now magazine and insisted that she had never entered and didn't want to go, and then they could persuade her to go. And so it starts with that. Her appearance there is kind of the impetus for the rest of the story.
So your plots are really pretty intricate.
They're very intricate.
And that's always good because it keeps the reader turning those pages.
And the Nick of Time one is actually very intricate because I wrote the first part of that as a short story. Then I wrote another short story, and then I decided I wanted to make it into a novella, so I combined them. So it starts in Prague, and
an interesting city just
yes,
to begin with.
It's a beautiful city there. And then they go into to London, and it gets involved with money laundering in Switzerland, and then it ends in Monte Carlo. And pardon me, that's the only place I haven't been out of all the
Monte
places
Carlo?
that I talked about.
Yeah,
So
that would be a fascinating place to go.
I think so too.
Yes.
Beautiful.
So you talked about a little internal conflict between one of your main characters and a boyfriend, a sort of boyfriend. Any other internal conflicts going on in your books between characters or between characters and their life?
Yes, because that makes it more interesting, I think, too. But
Oh, absolutely.
Helen likes to keep things to herself. She's the private investigator. And of course, Aaron Gerard, who's the detective, she always gets his help somehow in the end, and he gets very annoyed with her because she's holding back on him. So that's a little bit of that going on. And Laurel and Aaron, certainly they have that. He feels after a while that she's betrayed him. She really hasn't, but he's having trouble getting over that. And her dad is falling in love with Helen, and they're not so sure about that. And Helen's best friend owns January, Jimmy, and he's having some problems with some other characters that are in the story. So I built that in a little bit in each one.
Right. I think that's very important because, I don't care how good a plot is if your characters are not human, and you're only human if you're struggling with something. The book isn't as interesting. The book is cold.
Right.
It's almost like a nonfiction book. So I think character development is very important and really adds a whole dimension to a mystery story. So now we rode out to this wonderful studio in East Hampton together, and I caught snatches of your conversation with our other author, and you were talking about writing circles. Would you like to talk about how writing circles influence?
Well, yes, it influenced me very much. I decided I wanted to try and write a book. I'm a copywriter for many, many years, and I always wrote, 30-second commercials and one-page ads. So I took a class called How to Overcome Your Fear of Writing Your Novel. And our teacher was wonderful. She's a wonderful writer, Allison Richmond. And we did an assignment, and I think I started with keeping secrets for that class. And we brought our work in, and she asked if it would be okay to read it to the rest of the class. And I said, okay, this is it. If they like it, I will continue. And if they don't like it, I'm giving this up. And they liked it, fortunately. And I met 2 other women in the class, and we kept our writing team going even after the class had finished. And Allison couldn't teach us for a while, so we did it ourselves. We had our own little critique group.
What's the advantage of having a writing circle? You know, keeping a group of people, the same group of people.
I think that it's very good that they know your work and they're honest. You know, you have to be honest with each other, and you can get very good feedback from them and give good feedback as well. You know, you have to do it both ways.
Do you ever get involved in giving each other tips about marketing opportunities, publishers, publicists?
Yes, we do. One of my friends from the writing circle just published her memoir, and she did self-publish, and she, you know, she's trying to promote the book, and she's using Facebook, and that's the kind of thing I've been doing. She's doing a book blog tour, I believe, as well. I've done that too. So we do talk about all those kinds of things. I find that it's very difficult sometimes to really get your name out there and get your books going. Well, not sometimes, all the time.
Yeah, it is the most difficult part. You know, I often use the little analogy of go into a bookstore, go into a library, look at how many books there are. And how many of these books do you think sell every day? And these are the ones that make it to the publisher. So I think it's the most difficult market.
I think so too. And honestly, that's a good question. I wonder how many books sell every day. I don't know that.
Yeah.
Must be thousands.
Because I have friends who keep a constant check on their sales on Amazon. I mean, it's almost like a fetish with them.
Yeah.
And I think to myself, are you doing better on Amazon than you are in a bookstore? Because sometimes I think I'm doing better at a crafts fair than I would do on Amazon. So, yeah, it's hard.
I think Amazon, if you start to move up, they start to help you a little bit more. I'm not really sure what the process is with that, but
I am not either. I would love to know what the process is, because some people, it seems that some books are supported by them and others just fall by the wayside, and I don't know why.
I do know if you have a certain amount of reviews. For a brand new book, I think, well, when I had my first book, I think it had to be 10 or 15. Then they would put you more on their lists and stuff
I have
like
to
that.
remember that because I have a book coming out, and most of my books have maybe 7, 8 reviews, so I'll have to try to get a few more. Yeah.
And I think the more reviews you have, the higher up. Of course, the higher up it will go. But sales-wise, I don't know. We were discussing this in the car a little bit too. I don't know if you heard all of this, but I would feel much better if I had a print run for any of these books, because that way they could be in a bookstore. Someone could go in there and pick it up.
This is what I do.
Take a look at it.
This is what I do. I have them on Amazon, but I buy the books from the publisher. I self-publish, and I buy 100 books at a time. And then I take them around to bookstores. I do crafts fairs. I do writer circles. I do all kinds of library presentations, and I sell those books.
You do, that's good.
Yeah, and not only that, but I get the satisfaction of a person coming up and buying the book, looking through it, and then I have the people who read, because I wrote a series like you, and they read the first one, now they want the second one. So there's a lot of satisfaction in that, and I get to meet a lot of people. I also get to meet a lot of authors.
Yeah, I mean, it's good for them to have it holding in their hand.
So what did you use? You use small press?
Yes, a Camel Press in Seattle, and
You can't buy a...
Oh, I could buy them from them, sure.
Yeah.
I have, and I've given them away. I do conferences too, and
I don't give
just
them away.
started something that, well, I give them away for contests sometimes from blog posts and things like that.
Yeah.
And I started something at our library on 67th Street. Well, they do things like this all the time, but I asked them if we could have a discussion or a reading, and yes, now they want to do more. So we'll get some of the other authors. I also belong to Sisters in Crime, as I know you do, and that's good too. Everybody is very supportive there too.
Yes, yes. I think all of those organizations, it's important to belong to them, because It gives you, I think, gravitas. I belong to, Long Island Sisters in Crime, Mystery Writers of America, and you get the benefit of, however, I think all of those websites will allow you to post your books on there and advertise them, and you get the benefits of all of the conferences, and to find out all about these things yourself is very difficult.
It is.
It's a lot of work. Now, you were in the advertising field?
I was, yes.
So,
For a long
so your concept, being in the advertising field of marketing, is much better developed than most of the authors that we talk to here on the show. What would you say the benefits are of having come from advertising? And
Well,
newswork?
I mean, I think you just know that there is a benefit to advertise your book, to start with. That
Bottom line,
Bottom
right?
line.
Yeah.
You try and get it to the most people that you can. You try and, if you don't want to spend a lot of money, because many of us don't have all this extra money that, to do a big advertising campaign. But you can, I did little ads on Facebook, and I did
Social media.
social media, yes. I did the blog tours for all of the books. Got nice reviews from that. I don't know exactly how much that helped the sales, but let me think what else I've been doing. And now the readings at the library, and going to the conferences.
Yes.
And I did my own, some of my own covers with a friend who's a very talented art director, and I also did my own little film about each book, well, about two of them, book trailers. So that's because I know how to do that from my work.
It's a lot of work, isn't it?
It's a lot of work.
Did you, when you looked into small press, did you look into any other kind of publishing?
Well, I have an agent, so she really,
Oh, you
she
have it.
really did that.
And how did you get the agent?
Well, that was another
Yeah.
project too. I had a little thick, I just threw it away. I had a thick folder of all my rejections. But the woman who's my agent, Dawn Dowdle, she had been a editor for a long time as well. And I guess somehow, I don't remember how we actually met, or if I sent her something to look at. And then when she decided to become an agent, she asked me if I would join her agency. It's Blue Ridge Literary Agency. So I said yes, because that's a hard part of
Yes.
the
I
process.
mean, I've had very successful authors say it's almost impossible to get an agent. So, but I can't believe that, because people do get agents, but
Yeah, but there's a lot of us who are out there looking. And then she does, she took that other burden from me to contact the publishers and
Right.
look around, and we made decisions about which might be the right place.
so you probably don't have any worries about whatever books you write using that same publisher or using that same
Well,
agent.
I think I'm going to switch